My name is Lisa, and I've been a content creator for about 4 years now. I'm not a huge influencer, but I've partnered with several brands and collaborated with many other creators. I won't name my account or anything. I'm not getting paid for advertisement. In my time of being a creator, it's been a fulfilling journey, but like everything, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. For context, this happened about 3 years ago, back when TikTok was at its peak. With everyone being inside from the pandemic, many people turned to social media for entertainment. This of course caused me to get in front of the camera and create videos which built me a decent audience back then. Now the content I mainly did involved me dancing to popular songs, as that was a big trend. This made for many people, especially men, to take notice of this. Men seeing a woman in her mid to late 20s dancing was basically a goldmine to them. I got a ton of weird and creepy comments from this, but I knew that was expected. While I found some of them creepy, there was one comment that I had seen that nearly sent a chill down my spine. I had just recently posted a video where someone by the username of James210 said, "You're looking damn good today, Lisa." Now, you might be thinking that it was just another creepy comment, but the thing was that I never displayed my real name. My page only displays my last name, so there was no way someone could have found out my first name. Mind you, I keep my first name a secret, and I don't even talk in my videos. Assuming it was maybe a friend or family member playing some sick joke, I just deleted it and tried to forget about it. As time progressed, however, the more James continued with his comments and even tried DMing me. His comments ranged anywhere from innocent compliments to straight up derogatory. I only ever remember responding to his DM telling me to leave me alone and to stop trying to contact me. This seemed to have worked for quite some time, and I actually ended up forgetting about the whole thing. One day, I was in my room filming a TikTok as usual when I hear my front door being closed. I live in an apartment with my boyfriend, so I assumed he had gotten back from work. He must have been home early, I thought, and I happily called out to him, "I'm in here, honey." However, I was met with silence and sort of began to feel that sense of dread. It was kind of like that feeling you'd get when you know something's wrong but aren't sure what it is. I then hear footsteps slowly approach my bedroom, where I was met with a man who I could only describe as James. He was middle-aged with brown hair, and I could already smell the alcohol off him. He wore jeans with a bulky jacket, and on his side sticking out of his pocket was a gun. It only took me a good second to recognize him from his profile picture, and that's when I screamed at the top of my lungs. Then he began to act innocent, saying that he must have had the wrong floor or something. I abruptly scoffed at him, declared that I was not stupid, and told him to get the hell out. At this point, my fear turned to anger, and after constantly screaming at him, he finally got the hint and left. Thankfully, my boyfriend had got home soon after and had stayed with me until I calmed down. My boyfriend was on the phone with the police for a few minutes trying to give the operator our room number and building. The police eventually found our apartment, but not before arriving after 20 straight minutes. I know time seems to go slow during scary situations like this, but the amount of time it took for police to arrive still blows my mind. The account was taken down not too long after he left, so I couldn't provide them with any information other than a description. The police said they'd take a look into it, but that there was no guarantees they would find this James person. That was confirmed, as I never heard back from the police department, meaning that James is still out there. I'm not sure if he realized that what he was doing was wrong, or if he's still harassing people. I have no idea how the hell he found out where I lived, and quite frankly, I don't want to know. If I hadn't stood up for myself in front of James, I'm not sure what he would have done, had I let fear get to me. The fact that he had a gun just proves his intentions were certainly not good. My boyfriend and I moved over 2 states away after this, and now live much more happier lives. The only thing that worries me is having to see any more of those comments, wondering if it's secretly James. I hope I never see him again. I'm 17 years old, and I recently downloaded TikTok, the app that is taking over the world right now. I mainly got it just because my friends had it, but I didn't really see it as something I'd use much. Now, before I continue, I want to mention about a boy in my class who clearly has feelings for me. His name was Kyle and was around the same age as me. This will be important in the story later. While I was flattered by this, I never felt the same way, and because of this, his behavior began to change. Every time he'd ask me to go out with him, I'd always say no or ignore him. He got really upset whenever I rejected him and sort of made me feel bad when I did, telling me that I was breaking his heart and that he was gonna hurt himself if I didn't go out with him. I want to point out that he has autism, and he would use that as an excuse for me rejecting him. While I'm not prejudiced by any means, I just didn't feel the same way. His behavior continued for about a month with me trying to avoid him at all costs. Fast forward about 2 weeks later, it seemed he had stopped with his obsession with me, which was relieving to say the least. One day, I had been scrolling through TikTok when I came across a video from Kyle. I had Kyle's number, and TikTok would sometimes show you videos posted by your contacts. I can't remember what the video was about, but for whatever reason, I decided to check out his account. I look at his page, and that's when I noticed one of his videos had something that appeared awfully familiar. Upon tapping on the video, I felt my heart sink when I realized that he was in front of my house in the video. He went on to explain to everyone that he was at his, quote, girlfriend's house and how easy it was to find it. I kid you not, I almost pissed myself when I saw this. This whole time he knew where I lived and I didn't even know. I thought about telling my parents about it, but I'm not sure what would have happened if I did. A week later, he was actually expelled from school for doing something else that I won't go into. This caused him and his family to move, and I never saw Kyle again. This just goes to show you that social media can be a very dangerous place and that it could end up being a true nightmare if not used responsibly. And for the love of God, please use my story as a reminder that you could be watched anywhere without knowing. So, something weird has been happening lately. For starters, I want to say that I'm an atheist and don't believe in any god, the devil, or any spirits. After this incident, however, I'm not sure what to believe. My girlfriend died on the 7th of August of 2021. Her name was Kayla, and she was an amazing woman. Her death was caused by a drunk driver on the freeway while on her way home from work. Life kind of went downhill for me after she died. I didn't talk to anyone and sort of became withdrawn from society. I spent less time around friends and family, calling off work, and turned to the internet for attention. I mostly spent most of my time on TikTok, as this was around the time everyone had been hyping it up. I spent time on other platforms, but TikTok was the main one. I didn't post on it, I just sort of used it to watch videos and stuff to see all of the popular trends and news. One day, after a long and boring time at work, I had opened up TikTok and saw that I had a direct message from someone. Now, rarely do I ever get any message requests, and when I do, it's usually from a friend. I open it, and to my shock, I see it's from Kayla's account. I guess her family must have forgotten to deactivate her account and assumed that it had to be her younger brother on it. This was strangely weird, as I barely know her brother, and he's like 9, so I was rightfully confused. The message was a single hello, and out of curiosity, I type back asking if it's her brother. However, instead of getting an actual answer, I just get bombarded with 2 more hellos and a how are you. Jaden, it's not nice to be on Kayla's account texting me, I said. All of a sudden, 2 completely out of random texts pops up.
Avocado toast? Yo, I don't know, ask Nathan.
To put it into context, the avocado toast comment was something we always enjoyed eating on Saturdays. And Yo Ask Nathan was an inside joke I don't feel like explaining. At this point, I come to the realization that there was a hacker on Kayla's TikTok account and was recycling old messages from previous conversations. There was even stuff her and I had discussed in person and not over the phone. I assumed whoever this person was knew Kayla really well and was playing some sick joke in the worst way possible. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't just delete my TikTok. I wish I had, and I did for a little while, but when I came back, the text started to appear again. Hello happened a million times, and whenever I responded angrily or upset, her hacker would just spit out nonsense. Then one day, I had sent what I assumed was Kayla's hacker a message, asking them why they were doing this and why they seek pleasure in messing with people. 2 weeks later, I get a response, but it's the same recycled messages from previous chats. I remember about 20 plus, but the ones that really stood out to me were how we were gonna get married and if I still wanted kids. For whatever reason, those were the 2 that really broke me, as we were actually planning on getting married and having kids. After months of this happening, I really started to miss her and began messaging her, not caring who was on the other side. The thought of talking to her in some way really brought me joy. One day, her TikTok account had suddenly been deleted for unknown reasons. I'm not sure if it was banned because of a hacker or if it really was Kayla. This devastated me for a good while, and I even thought of myself going mental because of it. I ended up going to a psychologist who had to explain that it was all in my head and that my girlfriend really was gone. I know it sounds crazy, but I have no explanation for what took place. If it really was her sending me those messages somehow, I'm entirely grateful for being able to talk with her once more. I miss you, Kayla.
It's a scorching hot summer's day in Tampa, Florida. A high-definition camera records a spray of blood on the side of a car, slowly panning out to reveal the full extent of the gory scene. The car's door sports a small bullet hole, while the front seat's steering wheel and 2 plastic bottles are splattered in even more blood, this time a yellowy orange color almost resembling bile. A man in a hazardous materials suit is then seen analyzing a spent bullet casing, recognizing it as a 9mm. It slowly becomes apparent that the video shows the aftermath of a drive-by shooting, one of many that take place in the United States every single day. And after being posted on the usually music-based video app TikTok, the video gained more than 6 million views, and it's not the only morbid medley that garnered such attention. This isn't TikTok anymore. Welcome to Murder Talk. Crime Scene TikTok, Crime Scene Cleanup TikTok, or simply Murder Talk are the nicknames for a collection of videos with over 200 million views that document real-life crime scenes in graphic detail. The videos are mostly filmed at homicide scenes and depict cleaning teams scraping, steaming, and mopping away blood and other gory fluids. Some of the so-called murder talk accounts also showcase the house of hoarders, residences complete with overflowing fridges stuffed with rotting food, as rats and cockroaches and maggots scurry and squirm among the filth. It's a disgustingly disturbing delight for those fascinated with the darker sides of life. Washington-based Harley is 26 years old and grew up watching true crime and hoarder-based reality shows on TV with her mom. But she's now moved on to TikTok, preferring the raw, unfiltered reality that crime scene cleanup videos have to offer. Harley says that while many of the true crime shows were extremely graphic, there was still a lot that wasn't shown. Her morbid curiosity regarding what occurs after death had her to looking up online photos taken from famous crime scenes, and admits to exposing herself to sensitive content at a very young age. She's thankful that the TikTok content she watches now isn't overly fake or sensationalized, and says it's nice to just watch the cleanup happen without a ton of TV-edited drama. Dana, a 17-year-old from Ohio, also made a recent transition to TikTok after following a crime scene cleanup account on Instagram for a couple of years. For her, the draw of the content is a mixture of fascination with the macabre and a genuine desire to learn about the practicalities of the crime scene cleanup profession. It's something I'm drawn to because of the morbidity of it, I guess, she confessed. I've always been really obsessed with death and understanding what happens to us physically when we do pass, so it's interesting to see just what kind of mess gets left behind when people die traumatically. Yet despite Dana's clarity that crime scene cleanup wouldn't be the best paid career, she also refuses to write off working in the industry in the future, saying that it's a job she'd often seriously consider for herself. One of the more popular accounts of the murder talk scene is at Crime Scene Cleaning. The account has more than 19 million views and 2.8 million followers, and it is they who created the drive-by video we previously touched on. Their signature has been to create a kind of crime scene cinematic universe, with their videos starring kooky characters like Decomp Kyle and hoarding technician Fiona, whose speciality is inspecting overstuffed fridges. The At Crime Scene Cleaning account is run by a company named Spalding Decon, a trauma, biohazard, and crime scene cleaning company with a reach and reality that parallels their online success. With merchandise, online training courses, and a chain of cleanup franchises that stretches the length of the United States, it seems TikTok is just another arm of its sprawling business empire. A Nashville-based spokesperson claims that the company started using TikTok to better engage in what they referred to as the culture. While YouTube's video and Instagram posts are still extremely engaging and important, TikTok was another avenue where they could get their message and purpose out to as wide an audience as possible. Many new business opportunities have come through TikTok, with the majority of inquiries coming in the form of younger people insisting that a parent or friend is in need of Spalding Decon services. As well as attracting new business, Spalding Decon has attempted to emphasize the educational aspects of their posts, whether that's about the cleanup industry itself or specific conditions like hoarding. Not only that, but the company's CEO, Laura Spalding, also demonstrates this on TikTok by hosting regular Q&A sessions to answer all manner of fans' questions, some of which range from, "How do I get into this line of work?" to, "Is it true that when the body is decomposing, it blows up?" Social media has made us the household name for emergency cleanup services, Spalding says. We have brought humanity to the difficult job our techs perform every day. Although Spalding has faced controversy for some of the cheerful music used in their videos, it seems that At Crime Scene Cleaning are generally regarded as one of the more respectful murder talk content creators. Its more graphic videos contain trigger warnings. It hosts giveaways for armed forces veterans, and it regularly reassures fans that its clients sign a medical release prior to being recorded. But unfortunately, not all creators have the same kind of ideals. If you start looking for more accounts, I would suggest looking at those run by a specific business, says Washington-based Harley. Otherwise, you end up on compilation accounts that are just in it for shock value. Another player on the murder talk scene is an account known as Bioscene Recovery, run by James Monoth, a certified biohazard recovery supervisor whose daughter encouraged him to upload to TikTok. He confessed to having no idea his profession could be so popular, and is astounded that he's managed to clock a cool 43,000 followers. His most viral video depicts a blood-stained silhouette imprinted by a decomposing body, and has attracted some negativity, but he says the majority of comments come from people seeking understanding after losing their loved ones in similar situations. When scrolling through Murder Talk, it's clear to see that one creator works a little differently from the others. An account called @DeathScience has almost 500,000 followers and almost 5 million likes, and is part of a network of social media accounts run by a man named Jeremy Siliberto. Unlike the other creators, the crime scenes in his videos are simulated. Jeremy typically creates scripted and designed hyper-realistic content, not unlike the many fictional crime shows that are adored by the public. And he seems to have found a novel approach to educate and have fun, whilst not being overly gruesome nor disrespectful to the topic of death itself. Siliberto's plastic bones and fake crime scenes do nothing to dampen his grim aesthetic or his TikTok popularity. He ends a discussion on the legalities of home burial with, "Let me know in the comments who you would want to bury in your backyard," injecting dark, absurdist humor without being inconsiderate. Despite Siliberto's talking respectfully of the other creators and understands their reasoning, there can be no controversy about his personal motives. Not only does Siliberto aim to educate people about forensics, he also started #GenZForest, a movement that encourages young people to opt for more eco-friendly burial options. He believes that it is vital that we open up the conversation about death, as well as taming our anxieties about it. Dana from Ohio thinks the popularity of Murder Talk speaks to generational changes in attitudes towards death. "I definitely think my generation is more desensitized to things," she explains. "When you go through a national tragedy like one a year, and it's directly affecting your age group, the fear factors start to wear off and it's accepted as normal and expected. Everyone is kind of drawn to death. We seek it out. We ask for gritty details." She says she feels more comfortable watching crime scene cleanups on TikTok than other more algorithmic-friendly content. "I also follow plastic surgery accounts, and those bother me more than the crime scene cleanups do," she says. "I would rather have someone looking at my blood on concrete than my entire semi-naked body with all my flaws pointed out on Instagram." It's objectively disturbing that some young Americans could be more comfortable observing the deaths of other people than showcasing themselves online. And it seems that TikTok, as well as other social media outlets, not only have the capacity to allow us a share in each other's lives, but also in each other's deaths as well.
I used to frequently use TikTok watching trick shots, gaming posts, and other comedy clips. There is one guy who I followed though. I won't say his name, but the clips he posted were very unusual. They weren't very nice, to be honest. He used to wear this featureless mask and do things like spy on people in their house and frighten them. He even went as far as to attack someone. I gotta say, I'm not sure if it was real or not, because the clips would end before you could tell, but it felt genuine to me. I'm not proud that I watched this guy harass and assault people, but I did. One day I noticed I had gotten a new follower on TikTok. It was the same guy that I just mentioned. At first I was a bit worried, but shrugged it off. I was in an underground parking lot after I was done grocery shopping. It was late in the evening, so the parking lot was practically empty. Well, it looked empty, but I could feel that there was someone there with me. I suddenly became very paranoid. That night I was scrolling through my TikTok and saw a clip that made my heart sink. It was me in the parking lot looking anxiously around my surroundings. It was by the same guy that had followed me on TikTok from earlier. The next 2 days were the same. I was very paranoid, thinking I was being watched and followed, and my suspicions were confirmed because each night that guy had posted, it was clips of me. I felt sick and decided to call the police. Unfortunately, they said there wasn't much they could do, as no crime had been committed. A week went by, and the post stopped. I started to relax, thinking maybe he had just moved on, and it was all part of his prank thing or whatever. That was until I was attacked outside my house. I was hit over the head with something. I fell to the ground, nearly knocked out, but I was still conscious enough for a moment to see. What I saw will haunt me forever. It was a man standing over me with a featureless mask, holding a phone up. I passed out, but the next thing I remember was waking up in a hospital. I was found by someone who lived nearby. I told the police of what happened, but his account had been deleted. Whether or not his clips were staged or fake, his assault on me certainly was real. The weird thing I don't understand is why he deleted his account after attacking me. Unlike the other people, I deleted my TikTok. And this incident and the experience has scarred me for life. I just want to tell you, be aware of your surroundings, because you never know who could be watching you. And honestly, I would stay off of TikTok and any other social media.